Alright, so we've got my 2007 SV650 Sport. Picked it up a few weeks ago for real cheap. Kind of started to clean it up, give it some things that it needed. It had been dumped on both sides, so we got new levers on both sides. We got a new shift lever because that one was all buggered up. The chain was totally screwed, so I got a new chain on it. Starts and runs really well, so I went to go take it for a spin and see how those things are working out and find out that it doesn't shift above second. It'll go down into first, it'll pop up into neutral, it won't go, it'll go up into second, it won't go past second into third without grabbing the shift lever and pulling real hard while you're rocking it forward. It won't do it while it's moving. And then all the gears above that are really hard to do as well. So we're going to tear it down here. We're going to take a look at the shift mechanism. I already adjusted the shift lever here, as a lot of people suggested could be the issue. They said they had similar issues. I've adjusted that, I've played with it. I firmly do not believe that that's the problem based on the pattern that I'm having. I think it's probably either a problem with the shift star or cam or whatever it's called, and the stopper that holds that in place when you pop into a gear. My running theory that I'm hoping I'm going to find is true is that the cam, so it's like a star, or it's a circle with little star points on it, and then there's a cam stopper, and as you shift it's on a spring and it clicks out and holds it in gear. And because of the way it's acting, shifting into third, fourth, fifth, and sixth, and then back down from sixth, fifth, fourth to third, I think probably there's something with the cam that's not holding in place correctly, or it's holding too hard, and that doesn't let it pop up over there, because the little cams to shift from first to neutral and neutral to second are very small. It's almost flat on that side of the star. I'll show you guys what I mean here in just a minute, but I just drained the coolant. We're going to drop the oil, and then we're going to dig into it. The plan of action is to remove the clutch cover on this side. You got to remove the clutch basket. I ordered the tool to do that, and EBC sucks. So I'm going to try to make that work. Hopefully I can make it work and get the clutch basket off of there. If I can't, then I can't really continue to try to fix this today. It's two parts, and the holes on one of the parts is supposed to be threaded, and they are not. So I can't assemble the tool properly to even use the damn thing. So I will not be buying anything further from EBC brakes / tools for whatever that's worth. I'll show you guys what I mean with that when we get to that point too. Okay, so we got the fluids drained. You got to drain the coolant and then drain the oil, and then take off the clutch cover over here. The water pump has to come off with it. There's a bunch of different bolts around here, all the way around, and then just pull it off. This gasket comes apart. I got a new one on order. It should actually be here today. Next up, we're going to take these clutch bolts out. We're going to take all the clutch plates out, all the associated hardware here. There's like a push rod in there and some thrust washers and bearings and stuff. And then what I'm wanting to look at is right in there. So hopefully we can find something wrong with that. I hate to hope something is wrong, but you know, if there's something that's got to be wrong, I hope that's it and not a bent shift fork, because that'd be bad, bad, bad. Alright, we got the clutch springs all taken out. I am doing this with the repair manual, by the way. I'm not just kind of winging it. I downloaded it online and printed off the pages that I needed. Took the clutch springs out, took the clutch plates out. It's in neutral here. Make sure when you do this, there's a washer behind this big nut here with a couple of sides folded over here to make sure this doesn't back out. Make sure and straighten those out. You're never going to get this off if you don't. There's my plates. There's the EBC tool I was talking about. It comes with some bolts and some spacers. So that this screws like this, and these holes here are supposed to be threaded, but as you can see they are not. I contacted the person I bought it from, the company I bought it from, and they said to send it back, which doesn't do me any good. I'm glad that they were willing to take the return on this defective product. So I'll find a different company. Anyways, I'm going to slide this in here like this. I'm hoping that's going to lock this up enough that I can hit that with an impact and the correct size nut per socket on that nut, and I'll be able to pull that whole assembly off. Let's see how it goes. And that works just perfectly. That other part that screws on there gives you some leverage to hold this. with the bike being, you know, set up and the engine not wanting to turn over. Hitting that with an impact worked really well, because it's just locked this and this together, as if the clutch pack was in here and the spring tension was on, holding it together. So I figured that'd work. I'm glad it did. I'm still gonna send it back. Well, I may hang on to it, I don't know, since it worked, in case I have to do this again. We'll see. I don't know. I'm not buying any more EBC shit though. Alright, so here is the shifting assembly. The shift shaft goes through here and comes to this and works this back and forth. That makes this star go round and round. There's the cam stopper that holds it in gear. There's a return spring here that keeps this thing centered, so you can click this way and then click this way and it comes back both ways. I don't see anything immediately concerning. I don't see anything broken off. I don't see anything displaced. I don't see anything not where it's supposed to be. So let me take the shift shaft out. There's a circlip on the other side of the motor that I'll take out, and then this will slide out. And then we can get a better look at that and see, we can see if we can manually shift gears. Just spin the shift star while we spin the wheel and see if that'll drop it into gear. If that's easy, then that means that's good. That means the shift fork is, shift forks are not bent. If that's a pain in the ass, then we may have to scrap it. I don't know. We'll figure out a plan if we get there. Okay, so I took the whole shift mechanism off here. As you can see, I've just got one glove on so I can work the camera with this hand and work stuff with this hand. It's stuck. I'm trying to spin the shift star here. When I initially started playing with it, I kind of messed with it, and something, I don't know if something was wedged, I don't know if something is bent and is lined up now and will not be lined up in the future, I don't know, but the shift star is running through all the gears like it's supposed to. I'll show you guys. I made the comment earlier this week that maybe it just needed to be taken apart, properly cussed at, and put back together. I'm a firm believer that nothing works until you swear at least twice. I took it apart. I haven't bent anything. I haven't fixed anything. But it appears to be working now, and it wasn't when I initially took it apart. So let's, I'll show you guys. Here it is in neutral with this kind of flattish side of the shift star over here. There it drops into first just fine. I spin the wheel and it pops up into second just fine. You can see the drive shaft is moving with that, or the jack shaft, whatever it is, one of the transmission shafts. It's the input shaft, actually, is what it is. There it shifts into third. Keep spinning the wheel while I do that. There it shifts into fourth. Keep spinning, there it goes into fifth. And a little farther around it goes into sixth without any difficulty. Keep spinning the wheel forward and it does the same thing. Fifth, fourth, third, there's second, there's neutral, and there's first without any difficulty. So that leads me to believe that the shift forks are not bent. I've run through that several times. I think, I mean, it's, you know, really low speed for what this engine typically does, but I think if the shift forks were bent, they would have caught by now, but they haven't. I don't know what to think is wrong with it. I'm gonna put it back together. I'm gonna put it back together and see if it'll shift through the gears with the foot lever easily, and we'll go from there. Maybe something was wedged, maybe something, like I said, is bent and is no longer bent, or is bent and will catch again in the future. At any rate, it's not doing what it was doing when I took it apart. I'm going to pop it back into neutral here. Talk about a manual shift. So I'm going to put it back together and we'll see what it does. So I just noticed something while I was putting this together, and this may be part of my problem. It may be unrelated. It may be the sole cause of the problem. I guess we'll find out if it still does what it was doing. Let's see if I can get this to do this for you guys. As I was tightening this down, I don't know if you can see that the shift star, I don't know if I'm even able to hold this still enough here. As you spin this,
the shift star kind of wiggles around. You can't really see it because in this view because of the shadows. It's more apparent. There you can kind of see it. So as I'm screwing in the shift star, it's kind of wobbling in this motion just very slightly. I don't know if that means the shift drum is bent. I don't know if that means the shift star is bent. I don't know if that means just this bolt is bent. I'm inclined to believe maybe it just means that bolt is bent, because that bolt runs through there. There's no threads on it on the part that engages with that. I don't know. We'll see. If it doesn't work, then maybe I'll order that part and see if that fixes it. And if it doesn't, then we'll look further. All right, we officially have a project. We have a first blood draw. Okay, so I tried to reassemble it and it still got bound up. When I was trying to shift, it still would not pop from 2 to 3, and it kind of got bound up and gave me some difficulty even going back to 2 and neutral and 1. When I take this guy off, when I take this out, take this off, and put the star back on, I can slide the gears through manually with no difficulty whatsoever, which leads me to believe that a big part of the issue is somewhere within all this contraption. So I'm just gonna order new parts. Got the shift shaft that I've found a couple of on eBay pretty cheap. Mine appears to be straight. It might be a little bit bent right here. I don't know if that could be causing it. It's binding up. It's got a little bit of a wiggle here between this and this, so I don't know if getting dumped by previous owner and landing on this end transferred enough energy to maybe bend this piece. So I've got a little wiggle there. I took this apart and tried to finagle it, but it still didn't seem to do much. I mean, none of my forks, none of the little ratchet sections seem to be chewed up or damaged. The star doesn't appear to be damaged at all. In fact, it appears to be working fantastically in and of itself. This is the bolt that holds that in. It is a bit chewed up. Focus, you. Okay. It seems to be a little chewed up right there in the middle, and like I said, when I screw it in, it makes the star kind of do this action. So I don't know. I mean, I can't really visualize any kind of bend or anything in it, but I'll order a new one of those. This guy appears to be working well as well, but who knows. I'm just gonna replace this whole assembly. So putting this guy back together, upon a little bit closer review here, we're on the other side of the bike, and here's where the shift shaft comes through. There's the seal, and then here are the washer and circlip that go on that. And these are bent all the fuck, both of them, from sit on here like this. Actually, they go back. There's a couple of grooves back there. They go in there, but impact right here from getting tipped over or landing pushes this in. It pushes on this circlip and binds it around toward that and does this motion, which bends these. So I'll probably order a new washer and circlip as well, because actually I'll probably get those at Lowe's, because that may just hold everything in alignment and fix my problem. It doesn't take much more than a couple mils to make these things not work, but I'm gonna go ahead and order those parts anyway, just so I know I've got them. They're cheap. They're like 50 bucks for all of them, I think. But yeah, I just noticed that, so maybe that's an issue that somebody has as well. Something to keep in mind.